I want you to imagine a spaceship landing on Mars. It has to be perfect. It has to be self-sustaining. It has to generate its own air, grow its own food, and recycle its own water forever. There is no rescue mission. If the system fails, everyone dies. Before we could try this on Mars, we had to try it on Earth. So, in 1991, a private company spent $200 million to build Biosphere 2 in the Arizona desert. Biosphere 1 is the Earth itself. It was an engineering marvel, a 3-acre airtight glass structure. Inside, they recreated the entire world. They built a literal rainforest with a waterfall. They built an ocean with a coral reef and a wave machine. They built a savanna, a marsh, and a desert. And they built a farm. On September 26, 1991, 4 men and 4 women, the Biospherians, entered the airlock. They waved goodbye to the press. The heavy steel door was sealed shut. For the next 2 years, nothing was allowed in or out. No food, no air, no water. They were completely cut off from the planet. The first few months were optimistic. It felt like Star Trek. The crew farmed their crops, they managed the ocean, they had dinner parties. But slowly, the biological systems began to collapse. The first sign of trouble was the weather. The year 1991 happened to be an El Niño year. It was unusually cloudy in Arizona. The crops, sweet potatoes, beets, and bananas, didn't get enough sunlight. The harvest failed. The crew was forced onto a starvation diet. They were eating so few calories that they began to lose weight rapidly. They lost an average of 16% of their body weight in the first 6 months. They were hungry, exhausted, and working 12 hours a day just to keep the farm alive. Then came the pests. The ecosystem was out of balance. The hummingbirds died. The honeybees died. This meant the plants couldn't pollinate, but one species thrived: the cockroaches and the ants. Without predators, the insect population exploded. Millions of cockroaches covered the walls at night. They attacked the crops. The crazy ants infiltrated the electronics. The crew was living in a starving, bug-infested greenhouse. But the biggest threat was invisible. The air was running out. Sensors showed that oxygen levels were dropping by 0.5% every month. The scientists on the outside were baffled. The plant should have been producing oxygen. Where was it going? Was there a leak? No. The seal was tighter than the space shuttle. It took them months to solve the mystery. It wasn't a leak. It was the concrete. The massive concrete foundation of the biosphere had not fully cured. A chemical reaction was happening inside the walls. The calcium hydroxide in the concrete was absorbing carbon dioxide from the air and locking the oxygen molecules into the stone. The building itself was eating their air. By January 1993, the oxygen level had dropped from 21% to 14.2%. This is the equivalent of living on top of a 13,000-foot mountain. The crew developed sleep apnea. They couldn't finish sentences. They had to stop to breathe every few steps. As the oxygen dropped and the hunger set in, the psychology of the crew began to fracture. This is the part of the experiment that scares NASA the most. It wasn't the engineering that failed. It was the humans. The 8 Biospherians split into 2 hostile factions. One group wanted to break the seal, bring in food and air, and admit that the experiment needed help. They prioritized science. The other group wanted to keep the seal closed at all costs. They prioritized survival mode. They believed that on Mars, you can't just call for pizza. The tension became unbearable. The 2 groups stopped talking to each other. They would walk past each other in the narrow corridors without making eye contact. They ate meals in silence. It became a cold war inside a bottle. There were rumors of sabotage. There were accusations of hoarding food. On the outside, the mission control team finally decided to intervene. They couldn't let the crew die. They injected tons of pure oxygen into the facility. The crew described the feeling as a rebirth. Within hours, they had energy again. They started laughing. The suffocation ended. But the purity of the experiment was broken. They had failed to survive on their own. When the airlock finally opened on September 26, 1993, exactly 2 years later, the crew emerged. They were thin. They were pale. They were mentally scarred. They walked out into a world they hadn't touched in 730 days. Some of them never spoke to each other again. Biosphere 2 was labeled a failure by the media. It cost $200 million, and it didn't work. The concrete ate the air, the insects ate the food, the humans hated each other. But in retrospect, it was a magnificent failure. It taught us a lesson that we are still trying to learn today. Earth is irreplaceable. We spent a fortune trying to recreate Mother Nature with the best technology and the smartest minds in the world, and we couldn't keep 8 people alive for 2 years without cheating. The ecosystems of Earth are infinitely complex. The balance of bacteria, soil, air, and water is a delicate dance that we barely understand. Today, Biosphere 2 is owned by the University of Arizona. It is a research center. You can tour it. You can walk through the rainforest that grew out of control. You can see the ocean that almost died. It stands as a monument to human ambition and a monument to our limitations. It proved that until we learn how to take care of Biosphere 1, Earth, we have no business trying to build Biosphere 2 on Mars. I am your host. Take a deep breath, subscribe,